I will seek you in the morning, and I will learn to walk in your ways. And step by step, you'll lead me, Lord, and I will follow you all of my days. And I will follow you all of my days. And I will follow you all of my days. And step by step, you'll lead me, Lord, and I will follow you all of my days. Good morning. Hello, family. Hello. Hello. Everybody's freezing in here. I know it's cold, but I'm glad that you're here this morning. We've got a few announcements to run over, so let's do that, and then we'll get to class. We'll skip that one. We'll just keep that going. Up Groups is coming soon. You guys probably know that, so keep that on your mind as well. New Year's Eve Bash is New Year's Eve, and I think we don't have a ton signed up. Usually that's around 100 people or so. So if you haven't signed up and you want to go, text us, we'll get you signed up. We'll also kick out the sign-up sheet again today in case you just missed that. So we'll get you signed up for that. Who's seen Spider-Man? Okay, wow. All right. I know who to avoid because I haven't seen it. I thought about waiting until New Year's, but I don't think I can do that if I don't want any spoilers. So I might have to go this week. But anyway, excited for New Year's Eve. EU is coming up, so high school kids, keep that on your radar. We'll get a sign-up sheet probably this coming week for that. What else? Impact or Dig or MPIG is this coming Monday, right? Girls, Ashlyn is here, I think, or Alexa.
It's going to be in the chapel tomorrow night from 6 to 8. Marcus will be speaking, and we're going to have some food and things.
All right. So high school devotional tomorrow night. Be here at 6 o'clock. Marcus is speaking. All right. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. All right. We will go ahead and dismiss here in just a second. I'd like to have a prayer before we dismiss. Today, you might have seen this random table, and you might have noticed that we're missing the Christmas trees and everything that were in here the last few days. There's going to be a funeral in here today for the baby of Mariah Adcock. Mariah was a girl who was in our youth group a few years ago, and she lost her baby last week. So I want to have a special prayer for her. And if you don't mind, say a prayer for me today because I'm doing the funeral. So that's going to be a tough one. Let's bow and we'll dismiss. Father, thank you that we could come together this morning to worship you, to be with one another, to encourage each other. This morning as we get ready to go to Bible class, I pray that we would open up your word and learn more about what you want us to know and how you want us to be, how you want us to live. Today we lift up the Adcock family and we pray for Mariah, especially who's experiencing such a heavy, hard loss. We hurt with her, and we know that you do too. That you're near to those who are brokenhearted, and that you know what it's like to experience loss as well. Lord, we ask that you would comfort them, lift them up, and give them the strength to keep going. Thank you so much for Jesus, who is our hope. To heaven, where our hope will become reality. And we look forward to being there forever. In Jesus' name. All right. All right. I'm glad that you guys are here. Did everybody get a little piece of paper and a pen? Cool. All right, we're gonna use that. Put that to good use here in just a second. Before we begin our class, anybody got anything to share? Anybody got anything good to share? You ready for Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit. Michael?
I was gonna say Christmas is in less than a week.
Yeah, like less than a week away. Who is not finished with their shopping and is kind of starting to feel that panic setting in? Yeah. Yeah. I feel that. All right. What's good in my life? We did something pretty cool. We went to Gatlinburg this weekend, and that was kind of cool. Our family's never really gone away for Christmas. We always go to our grandparents or whatever, but this year we went to Gatlinburg, and that was cool. And like my family was there, my mom and dad, my brother and his family, and my grandparents. And they're getting older, so it was pretty cool for Lucas and Holly to spend time around them. But as of what day was that? We left Thursday, and Friday morning, first thing, Lucas woke up not feeling good. He was running fever. And so everything we did, Lucas just had to sit in his room and stay away from everybody. So that was the good and the bad. The good was we got to do a trip, but the bad was, Lucas had to pretty much sit out and everything. Grandparents kind of go all out for their grandkids. So, there were a lot of presents, and then they surprised us and we went to Dollywood that night, so that was kind of cool. And Lucas didn't get to go. He had to stay home and stay back.
Wow.
And so Lucas was there, and it stinks. We were in this cool cabin that had like a pool in the bottom of it. Like it was legit. And so Laura stayed with Lucas, so I felt bad for her too. So anyway, me and Holly had a great time in Dollywood.
You didn't feel bad enough.
Yeah. But Holly's kind of finicky about rides and stuff, and so her mama wasn't there, so she didn't really feel like riding anything adventurous. And so we did like the ship that swings like this, and then we did this little jumping frog thing that was like for 1-year-olds, and I think that was all. I think those were the only rides we were. Oh, we did the sit in the car and pretend like you're driving the car ride. So that was fun. It goes around the track and it's like you can steer, sort of. It's a fun ride, I guess.
Was it like the old time?
When you're forward. To do it?
Were they like old?
Yes, yeah, like old time cars. Yeah. So it's fine, But we had a good time. I didn't get her on the Soaring Eagle or whatever that ride is. It's a good roller coaster. Maybe next time. We'll see. All right. Did everybody get a little piece of paper and a pen? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down something that annoys you. Something that, man, everybody picked up their pens quickly. Something that annoys you. I'm going to get something to gather responses. Would someone upstairs gather your responses and bring them down to us? And then someone on the floor, I'll gather your responses. Something that annoys you. Something that annoys or bothers you. By the way, today is the last parable we're going to study. I know, single tear. Yes, it's been a good study. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you. Something that annoys you. You guys are ready for this question, I can tell. Quick answers. Thank you. Some of you may have a long list. That's okay. I just want to read a few of these. I may not read all of them. Or maybe I will. Should I read all of them? All of them. Doesn't matter. I won't know. I won't remember. If you want to. That's okay. All right. Did everybody turn one in? I'm willing to turn one in. Just one.
Not Nathan.
Hold on.
Wait for Nathan. Wait for Nathan.
Okay.
Okay, got one.
Okay.
I think it should be.
We might have to do this. Okay. Did I get everybody's? Then we need to turn one in. You guys upstairs, you got them. Now, before we read these, let's review a little bit, shall we? Let's look at some of the parables that we've looked at. We've done. Who can tell me what each one of these was? Thank you. All right. Parable number 1. What was it, Karis? Yeah, I'll tear down my barns and build bigger barns. That's called the parable of the rich fool. In case you wonder. Parable of the rich fool. All right. How about number 2? What we got? Parable of the
Wedding feast.
wedding feast. That's right. How about number 3?
Good Samaritan.
Good Samaritan. Number 4. Pharisee and the tax collector. Very good. Someone said it. By the way, did you notice how we went like computer, hand drawn? Which do you prefer? Do you like the hand drawn or the computer?
Hand drawn.
I also like that little humility box is wider than the rest of
It does look wider. It's got more fiber. All right. How about this one? The so real. Yeah, parable of sower. What about Woolios? It's the best cereal. All right, lost sheep. How about pig pops? Prodigal son or the lost son. How about boo buried? Good, burying the talents. And then last week, who remembers what that's about? The parable of the mermaid. Okay, mercy, but what was it about? Remember?
With the guy who was like giving
Yes.
and then the other guy was
The parable of, sometimes it's called the parable of the unforgiving servant, right? The servant who was forgiven that great debt, remember? And then he turned around, and he was forgiven the debt, and he turned around and went out and found somebody who owed him a bunch of money and mistreated him and didn't have mercy. And so, yeah, that's what we talked about last week. And go to the next slide if you would. We talked about really, there were a few life lessons, but the big one is if we want to be forgiven, we have to forgive. All right, now today, this parable, we're going to read about somebody who was annoying. Somebody who was annoying. And so I thought I would read some things that annoy you. Is that a good place to start? Okay. Let's see what we have. My brother. All right, there are no names on that. My sister. Homework, my cousins. When people use filler words, including like, and all of the time. I probably know you a lot. Whoever you are. Fake people. Other people sneezing a lot. Yeah, other people. Yeah.
Not yourself.
It either says fake people, other people sneezing a lot. Maybe that's how it is. Maybe it annoys you to sneeze a lot. I don't know. And then also Andrew Garfield.
What? I don't know that. Get out of here.
You're done.
Yeah, someone said when people make fun of kids with special needs. People are annoying. Smacky. Nails on the chalkboard. Bullying. Brad. Oh. Just guys in general. That's good. That's true. Sister. When people don't stop when you say stop, that is annoying. My parents. Grudges. Kay Sanders' awful driving. My brother. My girlfriend tickles me. Stop. Yeah, there's the sound effect. People making up fake things about you. About you. People that walk slow, drive slow, talk slow. People ordering in the drive-thru, especially 10 minutes before it closes. Hypocrites, my brother. See if I can do these quickly. When people think you think are your friends, stab you in the back. And my grandma I'd always be like, I hate when people stab in the back. And my grandma, she's the worst. Rachel Porter's backseat driving. My sister, people that chew with their mouth open. That is gross. My math teacher, sprinkling water bottles. Oh yeah, that's bad. My brother, when I can't drive places and I have to ride with my parents. People who are really cocky and prideful, yeah. Socks with sandals. All right. All of the emotions, yeah. All of them. Today we're going to be in Luke. Let's keep going here. We're going to talk about the parable of the persistent widow. It's a weird title, but it's the parable of the persistent widow. We're going to be in Luke chapter 18. It's a parable that actually appears before another parable that we studied in Luke chapter 18. So let's all turn to Luke 18, and then we'll dive in. Really simple, straightforward parable here, but I think really important. So let's go. Luke chapter 18, starting in verse 1. It begins this way. Oh, can I get a reader? Alexa, will you read for us?
And he told them a parable to effect that they ought always to pray and not to depart. And he said, in a certain city there was a judge who neither feared God nor man.
All right, very good. Go to the next slide if you would. Oh, by the way, you know, sometimes we read a parable and the Bible tells us the motive behind the parable. Do you remember the motive behind the parable of the lost son, the lost sheep, the lost coin? Do you remember what it was? Jesus heard them saying something about him. Do you remember what it was? I thought I saw Chase kind of nod his head. Were you nodding your head or were you falling asleep? Do it.
I said I was confused.
Oh, you're confused. Oh, sorry, I thought you did the answer. Okay, they are grumbling about Jesus because they're like, this man associates with sinners. He eats with tax collectors. And Jesus says, or he welcomes sinners. And so Jesus tells 3 parables about, yeah, that's exactly who I am. That's exactly what I do. I welcome sinners. Lost sheep, lost coin, lost son. All right. And this one, this is another parable where we know Jesus' motive. He tells them this parable to make sure they remember to always pray and not lose heart. And so here we go. Verse 2, we learn about the judge. I'm sorry, go back. We learn about this judge in this city. And what kind of judge do you think this is? Let's characterize this judge. What kind of judge do you think this is?
Prideful.
A prideful judge. All right, what do we know about him? There's 2 things the Bible tells us about him. Number 1, he doesn't what? He doesn't fear God. And number 2, he doesn't respect people. Right? He doesn't respect mankind. So here's a judge who's in a position where you would hope a judge would be someone who would respect like someone's situation or respect a person that's in a bad situation. All right. So what do we know about this judge? What kind of judge is he going to be? In fact, it may say it's an unrighteous judge, and I think we're going to read that in just a minute. We're going to read about. It says, "Learn from the unrighteous judge." So he's an unrighteous judge. He doesn't care about God. He doesn't care about people. Okay, so he's in a position of influence, but he doesn't have respect for God. He doesn't have respect for people. All right, let's go to verse 3. And there was a widow in that city who kept coming to him and saying, "Give me justice against my adversary." So a widow who's in a bad situation, someone mistreating her, and she's coming to the judge saying, "Give me justice, give me justice." Verse 4, "For a while he refused, but afterward he said to himself, though I neither fear God nor respect man, yet because this widow keeps bothering me, I will give her justice so that she will not beat me down by her continual coming. All right? In other words, this lady's starting to annoy the judge, right? Over and over, this very persistent widow comes to the judge saying, give me justice, give me justice. And he just gets to a point where he gets so frustrated, he's like, fine. Not because I care, but because I'm tired of dealing with it. All right? Let's go to verse 6. And the Lord said, hear what the unrighteous judge says. And will not God give justice to his elect, who cry to him day and night? Will he delay long over them? I tell you, he will give justice to them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth? Okay, next slide. Let's compare the judge in the story to God, our judge. Let's compare those two judges. What relationships do you see or what do you not see between those two? Let's start with the unrighteous judge. How do you characterize him?
Arrogant, not helpful, very self-absorbed, very misunderstood.
All right. You said arrogant, self-absorbed, uncaring, unhelpful. You're kind of confused why he's even a judge in the first place. I guess he's self-serving. All right, now let's compare that judge to our God. How does he compare?
He cares.
He cares.
He loves us. He wants us to be near him.
He cares and loves us and wants us to be near him. All right? Now let's think about the scenario here. You've got this widow who goes to the judge and bothers him and kind of beats him into submission, right? Think of it that way. Now let's compare the way we make requests to God. What's the comparison there that Jesus makes? Is there a similarity or is there just a stark contrast, a stark difference? What do you see?
I think it's different because God will answer us even if we don't understand it. That judge isn't going to want to answer us. He's just going to want us to just leave him alone because he cares.
Okay. Very good. All right. What else do you see when you compare these two? Isn't it interesting that you've got a judge who does not have any desire to help? And then Jesus compares, it's a strange parable, isn't it? He uses kind of a polar opposite parable to show us who God is and the way that he answers our prayers. So you got this one judge who really wants nothing to do with this request. And then you've got God, our righteous judge. And how does he feel about our request? What's Jesus say? He gives us justice and he answers them speedily. He does it quickly and urgently. It's not something we have to continually plead to God about. Now, we should continually plead to God, but God doesn't act like the unrighteous judge. He wants us to bring those requests to him so that he can answer them just like that. That's a really beautiful parable when you think about the polar opposite of who our judge is and who God is. It's pretty cool to think about. All right, let's go to the next slide. Really simple, short parable, but let's look at a few little takeaways from it. Number one, always pray and don't lose heart. Remember this verse at the very beginning of Luke chapter 18? And he told them a parable to the effect, why did he tell them this parable? That they ought always to pray and not lose heart. Is it easy to lose heart? Is it easy when we see news story after news story and we wake up and we see all this drama on social media? We go to school and we see people that have drama. And we look around at some of our friends and the drama that they go through. we see the loss that Mariah Adcock had to deal with this past week. Sometimes it's easy to lose heart. The more that we live, the more days that go by, it's easy to lose heart. Jesus says, don't lose heart. Hang in there. Don't stop praying. Number 2, our prayers don't bother God. I think that's a pretty cool thing to think about too. You know, sometimes we feel like we annoy people. When we bring things up, we might feel like we annoy people. In the story that Jesus just told, there's a judge who gets annoyed by this woman's request. But Jesus says that's not who your God is at all. He wants you to bring your request to him. He asked us to bring our requests to him. He cares very much. You don't bother God with your prayers. Ever, ever, ever. Like, we never read that in God's word. That's really beautiful. Our prayers don't bother God. Let's keep it. Number 3. God is eager to answer the prayers of the persistent. The persistent widow who kept coming back and asking the judge. God is eager to answer the prayers of the persistent. So, how did the parable start? Number 4? Sorry, keep going. Number 4. So always pray and don't lose heart. If God is eager to answer our prayers, if He's not annoyed by our prayers, if we don't bother Him with our prayers, to me it comes back full circle to how Jesus started the parable. With that in mind, we should always pray and never lose heart. All right. Is that it? How about this? Matthew 7 and 8, where Jesus says, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks it will be open. And then I think 1 Thessalonians 5:17 fits here very well to the idea of praying without ceasing, continually bringing your request to God. I think that's the last slide. This is the last slide. Is there anything right now in this room that you guys would like for us to be praying about persistently? Anything we should be praying about? I have a feeling the answer is yes, but we probably don't want to share them out loud with people. And so, if there's something that you could use some prayers about right now, send me a message. I would love to pray with you and pray for you. So, yeah, don't feel like you have to raise your hand and answer that. If there's something I can be praying about, man, hit me up. I would love that. Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to learn that famous study about doing different things in my life. I have Josh going, so I need to figure out what I really like.
College decisions, future careers, all that kind of stuff. Is that on some of your minds? If you're a senior, probably yes. Anything else you guys would like to just mention? Can we get you list of prayer? Yep. If you don't mind mentioning James, would you please?
Thank you, Lord, for this beautiful and wonderful day that you've given us, Lord. Thank you for allowing us to gather together and to learn more about you, Lord. Help Jameson and his college, Lord. Help him to find a great college that fits him and his needs, Lord. Help us to all get home safely today and to bring your word with you, Lord. And to help us all learn more and more about you. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Short parable today, short class today. The rest of the time, you guys can just talk and hang out. Appreciate y'all. Merry Christmas. Happy